So hello, everybody. I want to welcome you to the lecture titled New Materiality and Old Syntax Under the Skin of Ed Atkins, Aesthetics and Grammar of Contemporary Artistic Languages by Sanja Bojanić, a longtime friend and partner of the Institute for Philosophy and Social Theory. Dr. Bojanić is the director of the Center for Advanced Studies in Southeast Europe at University of Rijeka and program director of University of Rijeka's academic center Mojše Palace on the beautiful Cres Island in Croatia. Her research interests include media and queer studies and philosophy of culture, with a special focus on contemporary issues of gender, racial, and class practices as basis for social inequality. Dr. Bojanić's lecture is part of the Digital Society Laboratory online series, The Future of AI, through which we will explore our coexistence with AI and digital technologies in all aspects of daily life. This will be the last lecture in this first part of the Future of AI series, which will continue from February next year. The lecture will focus on the work of contemporary digital artist Ed Atkins, who reflects on the possibilities and perils of digital technology and culture, which Sanja Bojanić will read in the context of a new technologically based grammar of artistic expression. Sanja, please, you may begin.
Thank you very much, Vera. Thank you very much to all of you for being on Zoom and for sharing my curiosity of hearing something about a very long title, which is basically simple. And so in presenting Ed Atkins and his work, I will proceed in twofold track. I will take care of the form and I will take care of the content. And I will start rather with Thomas Aquinas and his list of philosophical definitions. I will not go through the list, but after enumerating understanding, intellectus, then sapientia, wisdom, then scientia, which is science as a certain knowledge through causes, Thomas Aquinas speaks about arts, and he proposes us a definition according to which art is the right reason of things to be made. Ars recta ratio factibilium, or the right reason, recta ratio, of course, can be a proportion, the right proportion of things to be made. So Atkins follows this old syntax for the right reason of things to be made and applies it to the new materiality of the contemporary arts. Indeed, grammar and languages of art in today's form of aesthetic experience are straightforwardly driven by algorithms. Ed Atkins is a British contemporary artist, best known for his video art and poetry. Recently, he writes more of a poetry. Since 2010, he has been a guest lecturer at Edinburgh College of Art, Slade School of Art in London, Wimbledon College of Art, Goldsmith College of Art, Städelschule in Frankfurt, and finally, he's a professor of the Royal Academy of Fine Arts in Copenhagen. For example, art historian, the curator of the Serpentine Gallery, Hans Ulrich Obrist, has referred to him as one of the great artists of our time. Ed Atkins is an eclectic and multifaceted artist. He plays in realms of uncomfortably intimate, elliptical prophecies and horrible caricatures, followed or preceded by realistic computer-generated videos that often feature male figures in the throes of unaccountable psychical crisis. In all of his pieces, Ed Atkins explores the material and corporeal qualities of the digital moving image, often integrating collaged, drawn, and written elements into his presentations, or referencing works of literature, very much the medieval literature, philosophy, Renaissance literature, Warburg school of thinking. In his 2016 installation, Safe Conduct, he provides me an outline or sketch of direction in developing actually my hypothesis on the new materiality and the old syntax, which is that the use of digital technologies in new artistic practices are indeed artistic and innovative if and only if they are disruptive and uncanny. Milan, please, can you show us the first and the second video? Thank you.
Yes. Well, to be honest, I'm not very comfortable. Once, a love note, so it was extruded as 900 watt digital fingerings, ballooned and darkened the steamy solitary ghost. The prob's actually simple maths, numbered privates. That's how I well-wished it. Red pen the demi that done in. He always already divided.
Hvala Milane. So I will say it again. The new artistic practices are indeed artistic and innovative if and only if they are disruptive and uncanny. The first premise in my hypothesis rests on the productive creative world of Ed Atkins, his work discipline, erudition, curiosity, self-irony. In fact, in a few crucial characteristics of any artist capable of producing a digital Gesamtkunstwerk. Now I refer here to the beginning of the 20th century and the arts practice of the Gesamtkunstwerk because it's with the new technologies that we can get it in a full depth. The given expression Ed Atkins chooses is not merely a reflection of his sharpened sensibility or recognized artistic talent. Rather, it requires hours and hours of coding, collecting data, a detailed understanding and ability to manipulate technology on the other side of the linear, exclusively progressive and passive acceptance of everything which technology mindlessly provides. It's a form of immanent critique of digital arts. Atkins uses technology beyond description for aestheticized uninterestedness, and it provokes and subtly nudges toward critical thinking. So the Safe Conduct is a digital installation produced to grotesquely educate and remind the audience of dystopian elements brought about by any technological development. At the same time, it serves to present the second premise here for me, which is the dissolution of one given and old artistic language, grammar, as the condition for the emergence of a new virtual materiality. Old figures and tropes, here represented by repetition, hyperbole, ritournelle, augmentation, irony, substitution, they function as factors of surprise. It is this second premise that justifies my drawing on the scholastic sentence that I stated at the beginning. Now I translate it as craft, as the right reason of things to be made. As you have seen in the installation overview, there are 3 video walls broadcasting 3 channels HD film with 5.1 surround sound in a sort of imitation of airport screens. We are encircled by speakers providing an Orwellian dominance of the space for the loop compromising, changing and overlaying images to make sense. Ravel's Bolero sets the rhythm and indicates the pace. Starting gently, at first merely hinting at the mind-numbing aspect of repetition of a given gesture, or swaying and rocking, producing a dulling effect. Safe Conduct, a cleverly chosen title, belongs to a specific manipulative and utilitarian protocols common to conflict situations between groups at war. It carries with it the privilege of exception and special status. I'll remind you, in the Middle Ages, during some periods of Islamic control of the Holy Land, Christian pilgrims could request letters of safe conduct from a Muslim ruler, allowing them to pass through their lands on the way to Jerusalem. In form of an oxymoron, it represents unprotected protection or protective exposure much like crossing into enemy territory with a white flag, or like the Bolshevik Lenin receiving a special laissez-passer from his exile in Switzerland through Germany to Russia, on condition that he made no stops in Germany and brings the revolution to Russia. The particularity of this laissez-passer is the between space, which carries a tension within despite the repetitive dullness of the act of passage. In Atkins' installation of X-ray security cameras, the ritual of removing, firstly, objects, shoes, and detection of explosive particles acquire a violent form accentuated by Boller's minimalism. The X-ray camera screen first shows objects, but shortly are also slabs of meat, viscera, kidney, feces, stuff that leaves traces the machine cannot but register. Decomposition, the installation protagonist's endless removal of a mask, imitates ad absurdum movement. Technologically, Ed Atkins first purchased a pre-programmed avatar for $500 on the website TurboSquid. He animated it using the face shift, rendering his facial expressions. Similar object recognition technologies began within military programs, only to be exponentially expanded in marketing and consumer studies. They are sold to us in the form of entertainment, such as Snapchat, until the moment we discovered that they serve to collect vast amount of data whose manipulation influences election, political processes, economies, like in Cambridge Analytica. But the story of big data and their use would take us too far afield from the aim of this presentation. That's only the one side of this new materiality. If technology, new media, in their virtual ambition to substitute, advance, or provide an ideal replica of the world, seek complete integration with their object of imitation, then Ed Atkins' artistic intervention breaks the mimesis protocol and gently introduces distress and reminds us of the brutality of the virtual. Atkins's avatars become surrogates. The artist self-referentially transfers his voice, gestures, and expressions, that was his voice that you've heard, onto his creation. Constantly mumbles the phrase, "to be honest." This is making me a little uncomfortable. To be honest, making myself represented makes me a little uncomfortable, as he peels off layer after layer of his face, removes his eyeballs, detaches his hands, and places his organs in airport security bins to the triumphant sound of Bolero. This scene unfolds in the deserted airport terminal as a blinking red light sounds a continuous anxiety-producing alarm. The artist's message is clear. We are faced with renders of a computer-generated image created based on algorithms that flatten and distort beyond humanity before placing these disfigured remains in a human context. So these new tools, CGI, AI, VR, facial shift, real-time, etc., and their capacity to build up new aesthetics, identify what is irretrievably lost of the old artistic syntax, how this traditional or formally purist syntax survives and is reborn in new creative process. So yes, the main challenge of new media art, and for example, Ed Atkins' artistic practice, is the right reason of the constitution and deconstitution of meaning of things through an immaterial approach to their old materiality. Atkins describes his work as a kind of a bedroom practice. He reads, writes, and plays with his face, seeing what he can tease out of the software. He outsources the more difficult design work, the sight to say of a man's urine streaming into a glass tumbler in ribbons, to a pro. A new world yawns open, he said, of the first time he used face recognition technology. Sitting there pulling faces to entertain myself with an avatar of me, a lived feed. It's like, oh God, I could be trapped here, you know? This horrendous clinch between me and what? So what do we talk here about? We do talk here about the new craft, new technological dexterity, but in an uncanny manner of arts as the right reason of things to be made. So I think I might stop here because I gave vast material to discuss about. Taking into account the fact that it all is represented really, obviously, as not real. And as a computer generated, like a slapstick horror video that are not us. So thank you.
Thank you, Sanja. Thank you very much. Please, I would like to invite everybody to just, if you want to offer some reflection or some question, just raise your hand and I will include you. And before we bring others in, and of course we have in the audience, I think mostly people who are not actually familiar or primarily dealing with arts, but it's for me, it's fascinating always to see examples, and I think this is happening less and less, of artists actually going into the technological medium itself. So this is maybe the first thing I want to ask you, Sanja, for your opinion, because we see today something in art, a trend in art, but not only in art, in culture, which we call the post-digital. So we see that we are actually just accepting that we have this convergence of physical and virtual worlds. We have stopped thinking about them critically, and it's actually not so common to see artists like Ed Atkins does here, who are very, very critical and actually very, very philosophical about their approach to technology. So how do you see this trend in contemporary art of post-digital versus what you called new materiality?
Thank you, Vera, because you pointed out, actually you showed me that I did a clear presentation, what is at stake. Which means that I started with the Thomas Aquinas not because of like extravagance or philosophically approaching something that is just a new artistic expression. I do believe that what we had through any development of culture content is relying upon the very strict and solid metrics of something that our world brought from Greece and from Middle Ages. So structurally speaking, any artistic practice should be disruptive. Whether we speak about Giotto, Frangelico, any Gothic or any just disgusting presentations of human figure in Middle Ages or late in mannerism. Art is not reflecting the reality. Art is creating reality into that critical sense of opposing reality that we live in. And if we live in digital world nowadays, that's a fact. That's a fact. But this is not something that should let us be and let us just rely on the reality as such. So my stance here is that arts are there as an avant-garde, always to disrupt the reality.
Yeah, I like that sentence that you open and closed with, like right reason for things to be made. And it made me think, and this is not something which is related to art. I think it's very much important for scientific production or any kind of production of meaning in today's digital or post-digital society. And it's the question of ethics. And of course, what you said about art's role as an avant-garde is just one perception or one stage in the development of art through the centuries. But we've seen since the 1980s, 1990s with postmodernism that this social engagement of art and the criticism is, of course, the key aspect of it. But I think ethics is, I mean, it's not something which is clearly connected with this. It's something that got lost. I mean, we are talking about more and more about ethics regarding these new disruptive technologies like artificial intelligence. So how do you see this connection? How large a role ethics play in, how large a role do you think they should play in arts and in general in humanities and sciences?
Well, you got it rightly, because when Thomas Aquinas talks about art as the right thing to for things to be made, the second or the thing that goes just after this is that ethical aspect of things to be rightly made. So it's recta ratio factibilium is the ethics for Aquinas. So recta ratio agibilium, which is right reason in acting or action. So yeah, I don't know if you've known Thomas Aquinas, but that's what he meant as well.
So it sounds like we need new ethics of art in this new materiality context.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Does anybody wish to join in on this discussion? I mean, I want to stress, I believe that Sanja will agree with me, this is an exciting time for this kind of topics, because it's not something that we have huge amount of books or authorities. This is something that actually the scientific community in all kinds of disciplines have a chance for the first time to in vivo think through and contribute from many different perspectives. So I think that all kinds of opinions are welcome. Here we have the first one. Sanja Bojanić, the coordinator of Digital Society Lab, one of our coordinators. Please, Sanja.
Thank you, Sanja, for a great lecture. It is a very important topic for the future because of the forthcoming metaverse and the responsibility of artists in this new world in which our surroundings will be created. So it is a very complex question that needs to be discussed in the future, because the great responsibility and the multidisciplinary effort of artists and whether this is art or not. So this is, of course, the question. But I guess it is, if you said that art is creation of our new reality. And in some cases, this is going to be very artistic. In other cases, it is going to be more like user interface in which we maybe live and work in terms of, so the creators of the new digital spaces will be artists, I guess. And this emerges with the role of psychologists, the role of designers, and all these aspects are important. And so what would you say that, and also the economy, I would just like to highlight that. So this is going to be very complex. I cannot even imagine how it will look like. What will be really the role and the responsibility of artists, and will that be art in terms of metaverse? So artists will have a really important role in the future, much more important than now, because many people will use the metaverse if it ever succeeds to be widely used. So this is just my thinking, and a question for you about the future and the role of artists. Thank you very much for a great presentation, Sanja.
Thank you. If I understood you well, I may make a distinction. For the metaverse, I just recently watched again Gattaca because of the narrative, because of the imaginary situation that is always dystopian, and things that we know or that reaches us about metaverse now are not yet clear. We don't know anything about it, but we just have the opportunity to create an imaginary of what the metaverse can be. And when I teach my students about various formats of reality, like augmented, simultaneous, virtual, etc., and when I make distinction between them, I do not make distinction between adjectives that are relative to the reality as such, because as someone who read Lacan a lot, and other phenomenologists in 20th century, I don't think that we do need to discuss that the reality does exist. There are tons of realities, and the one that is brought with the metaverse is just as part of our imaginary as all others. So you have one reality nowadays developed in Iran, and I happen to work with some Iranian colleagues on some seminars, and their ways of developing parallel formations of how to connect on internet, how to go bypass all the elements that are stripping them of their basic need to communicate and freely communicate with the world. And really, I don't buy it. I don't buy metaverse at all. Like I didn't buy Cambridge Analytica at all. the basic point is not the technique as such or technology as such, but how we use it and how we make protocols to use it. And this is what Vera, if I understood better what she was saying, but I think that we are on the same page here. This is the importance and the imperative of ethics. Why this is so important. Not the technology, not the apparatus per se, but how we use it. So the revolutionary way of going into decomposing, deconstructing these new usages is something that is on us to do. You see, I'm not a person into technologies. I'm let's say literate. I can understand what is going on, how things are going on with algorithms. I'm not programming, but I can follow that world and see what is happening. But this is the limit where I stop and where I ask those with whom I work the next step. And this is why I bring the old syntax, not for the sake of the reviving scholastics, but getting into picture something that was good in scholastics.
If I may, I mean, this, I think I can connect one question, which is specifically for you in terms of what you were just saying. When I was watching this video, I think that Ravel's Bolero and that like mechanical track, I mean, it was really, what had you said the word uncanny, it was really disturbing. And it reminded me about this idea of industrial production. So, you know, going back to some really old tropes, but in which the human is now being produced. But so what we are exploring through this whole series is actually a technology which is going to become and is already even more dangerous in this sense that not only are we using humans as products in so many ways, we now have the technologies who don't even have human supervision, which are completely mechanic. So I wanted to ask you in this sense, where do questions like race, like gender, like class come into this story? Like, where are we with this? Did we leave this completely behind?
Absolutely not, because programmers are racist, misogynist. those who are just coding, they bring in their subliminal biases and things that are not made obvious and public. So the thing is that the language of philosophy, and we really need here the language of philosophy, and there are artists that are that know this language, is so important. It's not the thing that now I'm gonna talk about intellect, immanence, ontology, this and that people will just go away and be scared because it's a jargon that is not used anymore. We still have great artists and great people using this jargon and making it livable, engaged, as you said. And when you said about the when you mentioned these practices on chain working, like, just imagine what is happening to those humans that need to stop their organic or material part of their body and continue working on the chain. How things are happening to them. I have a colleague, and we are working about it in the center in Rijeka. She worked and investigated textile workers in Italy, bringing their testimonies and stories about how they were going through their working period of life. She said that actually bosses, like providing the hygiene and public health things like, oh, we are going to take care of you, etc., etc. We are going to bring you vitamins. We are going to make you healthy. They were in 70s. They were giving these women amphetamines so that they can continue their job, because the profit was so important, and so that they can continue. Their body needed to suffer, and you needed to make their body high and resistant to this, so they continued. And they become, of course, addicted to certain substances. So that's the opposite thing that is happening again with technologies. But as I said before, it's not the technology as by its means that is wrong. It's how we use it, how we exploit that capacity or possibility of using technology.
Thank you, Sanja. Please, does anybody else wish to? Here is Jelena Guga, another coordinator of Digital Society Laboratory, and actually the author of this great series of lectures, The Future of AI. Jelena, please.
I wanted to actually ask you why chose only Ed Atkins. I mean, okay, he's a very great representative of your theoretical background of this talk, but in the light of this cacophony of new media art, especially with the rise of NFTs and everything, where I myself differentiate between real artworks and digital decorations, which only show what the technology can do. Can you kind of give us some other examples that would fit in your theory and the main premises of this talk, apart from Ed Atkins? Sanja, unmute, please.
Yeah. There are a lot of them, especially women, and they are less known. In Vienna, there's some group of young women artists, or in even in Rijeka here, we are having we're exchanging on this, and one is maybe I need to invite you to the exhibition. Her name is Sarah Salomon, and she just made a great exhibition on moving archaeologies as well. So the sensibility of new artists or movements towards that capacity of tackling technologies in its reverse is just great. So I chose Ed Atkins because it's so prominent, it's so exemplary, and it fitted well with Thomas Aquinas. But otherwise, yeah, there are a lot of them, and if we go on and make a series of presentation or representation of new arts or new artistic tendencies, I'm here.
Thank you. Just a follow-up question, which kind of goes on the line of what Ljubisha asked regarding the metaverse and the number of artists migrating into the metaverse. So basically, when we think about metaverse, is this social imaginary, which is not created by these critical, disruptive, uncanny art practices, but by corporations or popular culture. So how can we, let's say, empower, if that's a good word, artists to create this social imaginary rather than these like dominant narratives?
First, deprive them symbolically of the give them time, and give them space and nothing else. Like it's not in providing technologies that someone can become a great artist. A person needs to bring that, just needs to bring that towards before going into technologies. I'm working now with an artist. We are preparing an installation, Women in Pandemics, and she's doing it again. Multiple channeled videos, slicing them in a one. So you have actually just a static frame and thousands and thousands of slices of each woman represented in one figure, with a narrative that is going on how the pandemics went badly for women and how they were exhausted during this process. So the setting is extremely minimalist, with no effects, nothing important is happening, and all you need to do is just to hear, to be careful and to be patient with these voices that are crying, whispering, mumbling, and exposing their vulnerability. So that's also the opposite of huge technological things that you can have with the big fashionable art nowadays that is selling well.
Thank you. Okay, we have another raised hand, Jelena Novakovic. Please, Jelena.
Hi. I have just a follow-up question, not regarded to Ed Atkins, but you mentioned the augmented reality. It is my interest as an artist today. Can you please just comment how you said that you don't distinct it from virtual realities and other kinds of realities? It's a really interesting topic to me.
Maybe I was not clear when I said that actually when I do that with students is that I point the reality as such, and then all adjectives that are there, simultaneous, augmented, virtual, etc., they're just there to like climb these stairs of getting new layers of complexity into what is at stake. It is not that I don't make distinction between them, of course, but basically starting from what is there in representation of firstly bodily presence of an artist, and then exposing this bodily presence into the represented elements of it. And you have a lot of these things already. Deleuze and Guattari, they spoke about, and it's actually early 60s and 70s, when they started discussing the hologram now I'm getting it in French, as a protocol to present or represent something parallel. This is also at stake.
Okay, thank you. If there are no more raised hands, I would maybe like to conclude, Sanja, if you don't mind, with another. I just can't resist, because we don't have actually the topic of art so often at the program of our institute. I hope we will have them more and more. And because this series is about artificial intelligence, I would just like very shortly, or however do you want to approach it, what is your opinion about AI art, which we are now witnessing, like artificial intelligence creating art?
Yellen already said that. You know, it's you always have this ersatz thing, and it's good. Like the photography at the beginning, or when it started in middle 19th century, it was like that. You know, so technology has that democratic purpose of bringing arty content to demos. But what the arts is, or what is that arts bring as disruption, this is the other side of the medal. And you need to go further. You need to deconstruct it. And AI is like everywhere now. We have it like everywhere. And this is good, because it's again programmed through what our capacities are, or our capacities were. But like with the new chess guy who just caught being cheating, it's Kasparov who lost from Big Blue, and after that AI became the master. Big data is something that is the master of the big data as such, but we as individuals with the just small minds of ours that are still there, but from time to time with those who are exploding with mind of their creativity, we bring the change. It's not big data that will bring the change. It's maybe I'm too naive, but I don't think that big data will bring the change. It's again some particular extraordinary person that will show up and shift everything that has been done before.
Thank you, Sanja. Thank you, Sanja. Really, it was a real pleasure having you here, having you again, of course, at the stage of the Institute, but especially as a guest of our Digital Society Laboratory. Thank you, everybody, for being a great audience. I hope in the future you will have more courage to get into this topic with all of us. I will just remind you all that the Future of AI series will continue from February next year. Sanja, thank you a lot. And goodbye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.